I'm Vita Shay, and this is To the Moon. If you are new here, welcome. If you're a return viewer, I thank you for tuning in. I ask that you like, subscribe, share, comment, if you feel like this message can help someone else. So the title of today's word is Pay Attention, God is Always Moving. So God actually delivered this message to me last night after my brother's football game. I, took my shower. I was laying across the bed and he got my attention that he wanted me to do something different. And as I was sitting up, I saw the journal that I use to talk about, the messages and stuff that he has me send out. And so he encouraged me to journal the revelation that he gave me while I was working on stuff at the game. And as I was doing that, I was writing about how he used what he was doing, how he was teaching me to navigate this journey in the message specifically that he had me deliver yesterday. But there are often times that I either learn something from what he has me sending out, or in real time it's the message, like it's something that I just learned. And that was kind of a mixture of both of those happened yesterday, because as I was talking about, making the move off of what and doing what making a decision based off of what he's already given you before you receive more, and not staying stagnant and worried about making the right or wrong decision. I literally just had to do that with how I recorded the videos, and what he wanted me to do regarding another series that he put on my heart, and the messages that he has me doing every day for 30 days right now. And so I was like, that's just it's so great how like he actively has me he has me teaching and I'm learning at the same time. And that's when I was like, I wrote, that's one of the ways that you can, qualify what he has you doing, to know whether it really came from him or whether it's something from someone else. And I'm going to read it exactly how I wrote it, because we had to sit with it for a minute for me to be able to reiterate the message as he was showing it to me, because sometimes it's kind of hard translating from like the images or the pictures or what I see or what I hear him saying to words. And so I wrote, when he calls you to show up, it will impact more than one area at a time, allowing you the time and energy spent pouring out to be as efficient as possible and have maximum reach. You also have to pay close attention to be able to pick up on the ways he's using you to help you. How he's using you how he's using you being a blessing to others, to bless you, teach you something, answer questions you've asked him, and or respond to your prayer requests. And that was when he revealed to me in my journaling that this was actually part of a message that he wanted me to deliver, and he gave me the title. And to continue, dedicate. So you have to have dedicated space that's for you to meet with God. When I first started my journey and I kind of picked up on that lesson, I was like, okay, I set aside the bathroom as a dedicated meeting space. I was like, anytime that I'm in here, doing my morning routine, taking my shower, doing my nighttime, that's time just for us, for you to come and talk to me, everything. And I also have like a certain space in my room that I set aside. That's where when, I'm ready to meet with God in the private place or whatever, I lay out my yoga mat, and that's where I go to. And so I had two spaces inside of my house that were dedicated meeting spaces and a place for us. And that's really when I began to hear him more and feel his presence a lot more, when I had this space is for me and God. So when you have that dedicated time, he knows exactly where to find you, where to meet you, and where you're going to be paying very close attention to him. And so he knows he's going to have your undivided space, and you need to have at least one space that's in your house that you can access every single day. Then you can also branch out and have other spaces that you go to frequently. Like I also use my walks, or dedicated prayer time, or I walk sometimes to the softball field and I go sit in the dugout or whatever, and that's a time for us. I like being by the water, so sometimes I'll go by the boardwalk walk, and that's our dedicated time. Right now I'm out on the football field because I decided to come and walk and stuff while my brother's doing his Saturday football workouts. So he knows that anytime that I'm out in nature or something like that and just vibing, like, that's also a good time for us to meet. But that's not every day. Every day for sure, he know we're gonna meet in the bathroom, we're gonna meet in the secret place on the yoga mat on side my bed. Like, that's us every single day. The others are great for when I can utilize them. And that's gonna help you create a rhythm with him and a rhythm with yourself. And so, because you can't establish the necessary level of trust with one another if y'all only meet by chance or once a week at church. You're never going to be able to cultivate the level of relationship that you need with him, the level of intimacy that you need with him, in order to really move in your destiny and be elevated in glory and discover the version of you that he's trying desperately to get you to meet. How's he going to give you the information you need if you only call on him to make requests but never make time to receive? Or when you only call him at times you're distracted and doing other things and you're only giving him a piece of you? So if you're only distracted when you talk to God, or oh, I'm washing the dishes. And listen, there is absolutely nothing wrong with you also, while you're driving, talking with God, or when you're doing your chores and you're listening to worship music and talking to God. I am not saying anything against that. I do all of that as well. But you also have to have dedicated time where you are just receiving from him, where you are listening to him, where you can just be still and tap in and hear his voice. And so, would you want to stay on the phone with someone who only gives you their undivided attention when they're talking to you to beg, or when it's their turn to talk, and then when it's his turn to talk, you're tuned out, you're distracted, you're doing anything else? You wouldn't want to stay on the phone with somebody like that. You wouldn't want to be in constant communication with someone like that. And so, you have to give God that same respect and treat him the same way. He doesn't only want to hear from you when you are sending in a request, when you're begging, when you're complaining because you feel like you're not getting what you want from him, but you're never taking the time out to listen, to receive from him so you can get it. So, God will do what he said he will do. He's not a man that he should lie. Know that, trust that, believe that, have unwavering trust in that. That should be one of the foundational principles for you navigating your relationship with him. Self-awareness is also very key on this journey. It's highly likely that you need to check inward first before you question him or catch an attitude, getting angry because you feel like he said one thing and did another. So, there are several questions that you need to ask yourself before you turn to, feeling like God lied to you, or God isn't doing what he said he's going to do, or he promised you this and did that. God is not a man that he should lie. So when you get that as a foundation, when you have that set in stone and trust in you, then you can get to the real root of the problem that's blocking y'all's communication, or, that's making you feel like you're not getting what you need from him. And so, a few questions. Did you add on to his words after he spoke, getting your hopes up for expectations you set and not the promise he made? There are some times when God will give you, a word, he'll give you a direction, or he'll tell you, this is going to happen. And then you add on to that after the fact. You're like, oh, he said something that's happened to me on Friday. I must be getting that money I asked for. And he didn't say that you was getting the money you asked for. He said you was getting a blessing on Friday. And so then Friday comes and you receive the blessing he had in store for you, but you can't even fully appreciate it because now you mad and got an attitude that you didn't get the money that you thought you was about to get on Friday. But God never told you that. You added on to his words. So also, just be careful and check yourself that when he stopped speaking, you put a period right there. Now you can continue seeking and asking him for more clarification. Oh, is it this? Is it that? What's going to happen? He may answer you. He may tell you, wait until Friday and find out. But don't go adding on to his words and then getting upset about not receiving the part that you added on. Are you trying to eat the chicken when it's only been in the oven for an hour? Listen, baby, it takes chicken longer than an hour to bake in the oven, unless you're doing some extra stuff and got the oven on like 500, and I don't want to eat your chicken no way. So, are you trying to receive the blessing while he's still cooking it? And if so, like, you have to give him time to do what he needs to do. So if you may be getting impatient or upset, and you're like, you told me this was going to happen, and it is going to happen, but in his perfect timing. That's always a caveat to what he says, what he gives, what he promises. And so you can't go, trying to put your timeline on his work. And oftentimes we get caught up in worldly time frames and worldly procedures and stuff like that. And so we feel like we're running out of time. We're like, okay, God, this is going to happen. Like A, B, C, D, and E, and F and G got to happen before we even get there. And none of it's going on. He does not need all of that. All he has to do is speak a word and it's activated. Okay. It is what it is until it isn't. So, he doesn't need all of these things to be in place. If he said it's going to happen, it's going to, and things can happen very supernaturally. Okay. He told Abraham that he was going to have a son. They thought it was, past both of their times. So they tried to do it their way, and it was like, no. And it still had to happen in his perfect time. And he spoke a word and it instantly happened. It is what it is till it isn't. They were barren until they were not. Okay. Same thing with Mary. She had never even had sex. She'd never been with a man before. He was like, you're going to have a child. None of what happens naturally in the world needed to occur for his word to come to pass. So keep that in mind. And when you stay in your word, when you study, the history of your ancestors, their past, what they've been through, the way that God has worked in their lives, because everybody in the Bible is your ancestor, baby. Okay, so learn from their mistakes, learn from their blessings, learn what they did, learn what worked for them, learn what didn't work for them, learn how God moved on their behalf, so you know how he's going to move on yours. Okay, so you can trust and believe in his word because you've seen the way that he's come through every single time. There's not one thing that God promised that did not come to pass. Even if he had to move the blessing from one person to the next, in the case of Saul and David, we would not have known David's anointing or anything else had Saul stayed in the posture that he was supposed to. God did not want him to fail. God did not plan for him to fail, but Saul chose to seek the attention of men and everyone else instead of the one who anointed him to the position in the first place. So make sure that you stay postured and that you stay focused on the one who can make all things come true, the one who created you, the one who anointed you, the one who gave you the power, the one who gave you the gifts, the one who gave you the vision, the one who gave you the desires, all of the above. Okay. So did you seek him before you made a move? Oftentimes we make a move and then we be like, God, I want this move to be it so bad, make it work. That's not how it works, baby. You got to talk to him beforehand, okay? And so you can't go make a move that's completely outside of his will, outside of what he had in store for you, and then get upset that he's not blessing it. You're going to have to carry yourself back over into alignment to receive that blessing, to receive that favor. So, that's just something to be mindful of. And if you are in something that, he didn't want, that he didn't bless, and that he's actively been trying to get you out of, it's not the end. It's not over with. You just have to seek him on how to remove yourself from that and get back into the space that he needs you to be in. Did you seek him and still do what you wanted to do instead of what he said? Okay, because sometimes we'll seek God, is this person for me? Or, should I take this job? Should I leave this job? Should I do this? Should I do that? And he'll give you the answer that you didn't want to hear. And you're like, you know what, God? Maybe I didn't hear you right. I'm just going to do it anyway. Or you hear him, you're like, well, I heard you, but I'm still do what I want to do. And then you get upset at the warfare that you encounter. You get upset at the hurt and the everything else that comes, and it's like, and then you start blaming God. But God didn't do that. He told you no, and you did it anyway. So now you have to go through these things that he didn't want you to deal with, and he's still going to, he loves you so much that he'll still help you get out of it, but you have to be getting out of it. He's not going to help you stay in it. Okay. So did he give you direct instructions that you ignored? I talked about this before, how God gave me the directions to post video every day for the month of June, and I did not do it. And I'm like, okay, God, like, I'm still in this space. I still don't see what's happening. And it was my fault because I didn't do what he told me to do. And what I wanted, what he promised me, what I was waiting for was not going to come until I was obedient and post these videos every day for 30 days. So check back in. Did he give you some direct instructions that you dropped the ball on, that you did not do? If so, you're going to have to do that before you move on to the next level. There's no getting around God's instructions, God's way, his will. He ordered these steps for a reason, and there's some things that he needs to either remove from you or help you pull out in order for you to receive what he has for you. He's not going to give you a blessing. He's not going to lay something on you that you are not equipped to handle. So when he gives you these instructions, it's not because he's trying to punish you. It's not because he wants to make you go through the ringer. It's not because he's trying to haze you. It's because he's preparing you to handle it and to properly steward what you need. It's so he can introduce you to the version of you that's equipped to lead, to steward whatever it is that he promised you. Okay? Are you still holding on to people he told you to let go of? Oftentimes we allow history, loyalty, blood, XYZ to keep us tethered to people that God has actively been trying to remove from us. And it's not always just a complete, I'm never speaking to you again, you got to be banished from my life. Sometimes it's just that they can't have the level of access to us that they've had previously. And so you have to make those shifts. You have to navigate those changes as he's directed you to. And it could only be for a season, because he needs to do some work on them so that y'all can join together at a certain level and remain that same level of relationship. Some, he needs to completely remove from your life, and others, they just need a little less access so they can't open the door for the enemy to come in and attack you, because they're not protected themselves. Okay, so you have to lean in and allow him to lead you and guide you in those relationships. You can't be so thirsty for connection and relation that you ignore what he's telling you to do, because ultimately you're going to end up getting more hurt in the long run than you will be maneuvering those bonds as he's directing you. He's never going to instruct you to do something that's not for your good. Is there a lesson he's having to repeat because you're being hard-headed? Okay, are you stuck in this season because there's something that he's trying to get you to learn and you refuse to learn it? There's something he's trying to get you to either stop doing or start doing, and you're just like, I want to do this because it's what I want to do, and you just gonna have to deal with it. He's like, no, you're just gonna have to deal with being stuck in this space, because I'm not going to move you somewhere and you're still doing XYZ, or you're not doing what I need of you, because he doesn't not want to set you up to fall from grace. And so if you're not learning the lesson, you're going to keep taking the class over and over and over and over. He left the Israelites in the wilderness for 40 years. Don't think he won't do it, okay? He is not playing. And yeah, so you can be stubborn if you want to, but you're going to learn his lesson either the easy way or the hard way, okay? He said he not one of your little friends. He ain't got time to play games with you. He quit school because of recess, okay? He don't do games. So either his way or you keep learning over and over, because you're going to be following someone. So either you're going to follow him and learn his lessons and do things his way and receive a life of honor and praise and glory and power and abundance, or you're going to follow the enemy and you're going to be stuck in a life in the perpetual cycle of despair, of hurt, of lack, of draining energy and everything else. So you pick your poison, and it's either poison or glory. So which one do you want to follow? Either way, God is always moving, and you just have to pay close attention to see him, and you have to give him a chance, be open to receive what he has for you. And if you're not giving him that opening, if you're not providing that space for him, then how are you going to see him moving on your behalf? How are you going to hear what he has to say for you? So stop having one-sided monologues with God and have a conversation with him so you can tap in and receive what he wants you to receive. I love you. I pray that you love you, and just know that God loves you right up to the moon and back. Bye.